aka the villain of truth, aka the Black Panther of Nigeria. Today's episode is definitely going to be a little bit shocking because I want to bring out my view from the idea of the villain of truth side of me that is going to speak. And my today's subject is like why men shouldn't always open up. And I know it's contradictory to the public opinion of what a lot of people would buy into or what most people talk about. But I will be speaking on the reason why men shouldn't always open up. Um, but before we dive into that subject, there are a few things I would like to touch on. One of it has to do with I will touch on certain conversations, and I would like, before I actually dive into the subject, in part of the observation, part of the news that we were able to gather today, and the things that actually matters. Now, for those of us who tends to be a UFC fighter fan, we would have known about a guy called Israel Adesanya, and Israel Adesanya tends to be a UFC fighter. Um, Not quite long, he lost to Duplex something something, and we found him coming to Nigeria to celebrate with his people. But one of the things that I got out of the story was that Israel Adesanya came to ShopRite. He went to ShopRite in, I think it is in the island, and people were all videoing Israel Adesanya while he was shopping, and he had some law enforcement and bodyguards protecting him and the rest of it. I really appreciate. Vivek Viswa, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining. Yeah, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you joining me live. Um, there are a few stories I'm actually looking at, and I'm trying to share my own insight on them before I actually dive into today's subject. Today's subject is about why men shouldn't really open up. I'm doing fine, sir. I appreciate. I'm doing very great. I want to be giving out some insights on why men shouldn't open up. But before I go into that subject, I want to touch on a few observations. And one of it is about a UFC fighter called Israel Adesanya, who is from Nigeria, and he has been in the UFC, has won a lot of title, and lately he lost his title and he came back to Nigeria to, go to the shop rights to celebrate, and he was getting some stuff. What I saw in that story is that I appreciated Israel Adesanya for coming around to Nigeria because, yeah, I'm from Nigeria. I am from Nigeria. Some people say that the way I speak, I don't sound like someone who is from Nigeria. Certain individuals think maybe I'm just, I don't know. I don't know how I look. Okay, you're from India. Yeah. With your name, I can guess you're from India when I heard the word Vivek, Viswa. You can look at Vives, but that's this guy who was trying to become one of these political people, Vivek Swami or something like that. So I know you are definitely from India. So I got certain stuff from Israel Adesanya with what he did, and I appreciated that aspect of him that most people. Something about Africa is this: we appreciate our brothers who are successful coming back home. He said the only man you know is Good Luck Jonathan. That's good. We are not meant to know everything in life. The only person I really know very well in India is Sadhguru. The person I actually know much in India is Sadhguru. So you see, so like I was saying, we appreciate him. Yeah, you're welcome. So one of the things we had to do is that I saw a story regarding Israel Adesanya and I appreciated it because it is not easy as a Nigerian. I don't even think anything is easy, but I would just say looking at your people and looking at the conditions of Nigeria, regardless of the things people say about Nigeria and the rest of it, Israel Adesanya is always proud of being from Nigeria. Hello, Rusty. Good day, welcome. Thanks for joining. I appreciate. I actually have a few stories I'm touching on today. And I think I've touched on the idea of Israel Adesanya, who is a UFC fighter. I would be speaking on the remaining stories so we can all contribute and look into the subject. Israel Adesanya coming to Nigeria, I think I appreciate it, and I think Kamaru Usman should do the same thing. And I know he's actually supporting Nigerians in creating a combat sport, so people who want to go into UFC. I appreciate all those aspects. So let us always encourage our brothers that are in the Western culture, those who are outside the country and doing something with their life. Let us always welcome them, and it's a great thing. Saki, OMG, it's Rusty again. Yes, Rusty is our main person. Is our main person. He makes every subject interesting. Now, there's another subject I would like to cover. And part of the subject I want to cover is I saw something online, and one of the things I saw online was a lady who was complaining about her mom. This girl tends to be 17-year-old girl. And as this girl tends to be a 17-year-old girl, she had a brother. Her brother is over 20 years. I think he's 21. And she was crying that her mom asked her to pack out of the house because she did not prepare food for her elder brother, who is the male. Her mother asked her to pack out of the house for not cooking for her brother. And that's particular stuff kind of, it looks real. It could be, maybe it's televised, but it looks real. And this particular lady is from US. So she was videoing the old stuff saying that her mom asked her to pack out. Her brother is always on the game, playing games, just PS2, PS3, and PS4 or whatever. And she videoed her brother, and then her mom asked her to move out of the house. A 17-year-old girl. And I asked myself a question, like, what's really going on here? One of the things I actually also observed is that she said that her dad has separated from her mom long time ago. And I want to understand few things. That's the reason why I'm bringing out this subject now. What I want to understand is why is it that mothers always find a soft spot for their son, and they are always easy to chase out their daughters? And I'm not saying this is total for everyone. I'm not saying it's stuff that goes round, but I'm like, I have seen a lot of scenarios whereby mothers are kind of nice to their children, to their sons, and when it comes to their daughters, they are kind of hostile to their daughters. What do we think could be one of the reason for it? What are the things that could be part of it? Okay, Vivek Viswa, you said you want to say something. Can you bring out? Can you tell me what you're trying to pass across? Rusty says Saki stalks me all over YouTube live stream. So Vivek, I'm waiting for you to come up with your the subject, what you want to talk about, while I go into what I'm actually asking. So, is there any understanding why why is it that women kind of are not that much close with their daughters? And I've heard this story so much in the US specifically because when it comes to Africa, our mothers kind of appreciate their daughters in one way. In fact, if you're having Vivek Viswa, you said, bro, you look so manly. Your smile is so cutie. Uh, was that why you interrupted? Why you said you wanted to interrupt? Well, um, sometimes I have to make some adjustments, and part of the adjustment would be the idea that once you're a member, you can always chat me. Okay, you said you wanted to convey this message. All right. Um, I don't know what response I could give to that, but I think I have a better way to move around certain things, and I'll make little adjustments. Yeah. So membership can always write, and those who want to contribute to funds to support super chats, members can write. I think that's it. Members can write. So what I was saying is this: why would most daughters in the U.S. I've spoken to few ladies and few women in the past, and part of the story they all told me, I am saying it for a fact, every lady that I have spoken to from the United States, they kind of have bad experience with their mother. Some of them have it with their mom and their dad, but most likely a lot of them have issues with their mom. And I ask myself, what is the reason behind it? I think this was the way I was viewing it. My perception is that it seems as if male children think of their makes their mom remember their love, or most likely most mothers kind of see their son as their new boyfriend or husband. Is that how they actually perceive it over there? Or they love the man so much and looking at him like, okay, their son tends to be a representation of that particular individual. Is that how they perceive it? And maybe daughters kind of reminds women about some of their mistakes in the past. Is that how they could have perceived it? Is that how they could have perceived it? So I was thinking about it, like, why is it that everybody I speak to in US, a lady, they always come up with this idea like, oh, my my mom is kind of aggressive towards me and she spoils my brother. It doesn't really make sense when I hear conversations like that. Then, with that being said, I have a subject I said I want to talk about today. This is the basic reason why I came live and why I say men shouldn't always open up. Why men shouldn't always open up in life. And I know that what I am about to say, some people might not appreciate it. They would say, oh, what are you trying to say? It looks controversial and the rest of it. But I would list out few things about why men shouldn't open up in the society today. And this is not like affirming that men should never open up. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you are a man, you need to understand when you can open up. Because one of the things that goes on online is when people keep telling you, oh, men are supposed to be open up. And if men are not opening up, it's destroying relationship and the rest of it. Yes, they have a lot of perception that they say. But now let us debunk it and ask ourselves, why is it that men don't open up first? Let us ask ourselves why men don't really open up. And would we say that because men are not opening up in relationship, there is a possibility that that is what is affecting a lot of relationship between men and women today? This is what I would first of all go. I would first of all ask that in every society that I know, there's what we call society expectations of masculinity. If you tend to be a man, society mostly expects that men have to be masculine. And because you have to be masculine, it is normal for you not to speak up. It is normal that as a man in any society, you are not supposed to speak up because that actually represents masculinity. You are not supposed to complain. And like I said earlier, obedience is the cornerstone of slavery in a sense. But why do they even applaud the idea that men shouldn't speak up, or it is not expected of men to always speak up when they are going through things? Is that when you look at history, according to history, for lands or for tribes to be protected, they most likely need men to defend them. And for men to defend them, going to war was not a conducive thing. And because going to war is not conducive, men are kind of expected not to complain, but to understand that it is their duty to protect their tribes. It was their duty to protect their parents. It was their duty to protect their mom and dad. So this is how the mentality of masculinity begins to flow in, that men are not meant to complain. Part of the reasons can be that men are actually built to be physically dominant than women. And so we are expected to protect these people. It wasn't long I saw a video on Instagram that was yesterday, and where they showed a US police officer. She was a female, and she was trying to arrest a male, just a male citizen, and see how the guy punched her, and they were trying to help her to stand up from the ground. She was batally beaten by a guy. Now, a different police officer who tends to be a male came and was able to handle the guy. So, all the idea that, when I spoke about this Donald Trump stuff, like Donald Trump was using female secret service to protect himself, and I was looking at their reaction after that shot, the way they were reacting, I'm like, yes, women should be able to do certain things, but there are some things they are not built for. And we shouldn't use, because of equality, to shame women to do things that they are not meant for. Or maybe we are not shaming them. Maybe they are the ones that are just making decisions to want to fill in all the old space. But in the word of what I am actually discussing on, is that society in the past till date expect men, if you call yourself a man, you are not expected to complain. You are supposed to oblige. You're supposed to protect. And there's already a sense of responsibility the moment you are a man. Maybe they give you the grace till you're 13 or you're 14 or you're 15. I could remember that I have seen some families while I was growing up that you would see a daughter get beaten outside, maybe a young girl get beaten outside, and the mom and the dad would always want to protect the daughter and to take care of her. But when the son comes back and he says someone hit me or someone beat me, the next thing they tell the guy is go back and hit him back. Don't express yourself. When someone hits you, take actions. You are not meant to come here to complain. So, because of that mindset, most men actually have the understanding that I am not meant to complain. I am just supposed to go fight. I am just supposed to be a human that's, just take actions rather than talking. When you look at military, every part of military are most dominated by male. And because all part of military are most dominated by male, one of the things about male in every military is you just obey. So psychologically, society actually expects men never to complain about anything and just to obey whatever they are being said, whatever they are being told to do. And that is one of the reasons why I think that men, as we grow up, we started making decisions not to be opening up to people. Then the second one is that the fear of being judgment, what I call fear of judgment. One of the things I've also perceived is that people kind of judge men for any single thing that goes on in the society. And because we are being judged, we because of we are being judged, we kind of take things like, what are we going to do as men, regardless of the fact that we are going to be judged no matter what we do? The best thing we have to do is to man up and not to complain about anything. Society judge men for every single damn thing. In fact, I think men are leaders. And the reason why we face attacks like this, most men face attacks like this, is basically because instinctively, a lot of people understand that men are leaders in relationship, in society, in almost everywhere. But the idea that we are trying to balance a system called equality is most likely the reason why some of us kind of, some of us kind of try to blend in with the society in relating with people. But regardless of the fact that we try to relate with people, we can never be understood. And these are part of the reasons why men most likely make decisions like, okay, we don't have to speak up our mind because we are going to be judged regardless. Trust me, there was something I also understand, that it was very normal for people to say stuff like, I don't want to sound sexist on that particular subject. But you see, when it comes to this, let me leave that alone. Let me leave that alone so I don't turn the whole subject upside down. Then the next thing that have affect men most times is what we call communication style. Um, Apart from the fact that men are asked not to complain, so there's a way men actually discuss our problem, and other men can understand what you mean or where you are actually coming from. So when I have an issue and I go to a friend and I tell my friend, oh, see what I'm going through, see this and see this. Most times our friends are like, okay, let's find a solution to it. When you have that same conversation with a woman begins to, rather than giving you a solution, she begins to make you feel pathetic, make the situation looks very pathetic. Like, oh, sorry, this kind of stuff happened to you. Sorry, this is happening to you. And to me, I see it as when you go to meet women or mothers, even mothers, and you tell them, they begin to ask you, what do you think we can do? How are you going through this old stuff? What happened? And the rest of it. And so, men, we have been built to always find solution to our issues. And because we have been built to find solution to our issues, it is mostly important that we convey whatever issue we are going through to other men rather than trying to say all these things to women, because the word of a woman and the word of a man are totally different. Now, I would even give out a little bit of story on this. I have seen a lot of people who talk to me and they say relationship to them only matters if if their man is actually opening up to them. And I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense. But in my years of experience in my life, I haven't seen a relationship where a man is always open up to his wife about everything, and the woman don't get tired of that man. Women get tired when you go to them and you start telling them, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm going through. Women are not built to handle your situation. They want you, they expect you to be able to solve your own problem yourself. And because of that, I know some people would disagree and they say, I have a wife who I can speak every issues to and she's going to understand me and the rest of it. Now, here's what I understand. I've listened to a lot of things. I'm not talking about the Jordan Peterson. I've listened to a lot of conversations that, regardless of the fact that women will tell you to be opening up, there's something inside of them that, because they empathize with you due to the situations of what you're going through, they are not attracted to you because you are not a solution person. You have become a complainer to them. Most of them would disagree, but it doesn't change the fact that that is the reality. There were certain individuals I met at some point in my life, and then they told me, oh, talk to me about anything, we like open communication and the rest of it. And I knew this long time ago, that opening up to women, you are disturbing yourself. Then I make a decision. I'm like, okay, for sake of communication, because this person is asking of it, let me even try and see, maybe this person can handle it. Then the person is like, whatever is going on in your mind, just say it. I want to hear it. I prefer listening to people than telling people my problem. Even generally, even to men, I rather listen to other people's problem than to tell people about my problem. And then, why the person was like, be opening up to me, and she was a lady, be opening up to me, I decided, okay, I'm like, okay, I would try my best to be open up. And then the person would talk to me, we have different opinion, we discuss on every subject. In fact, I was like, okay, but whenever we are discussing, I have few things I want to say. I would decide to hold myself back, because if you're asking someone for their opinion on something, you are asking that person to give you exactly how the person perceive it. And I say, I will tell you how I see it. I most likely might not be seeing it correctly, but I will just tell you how I view this particular issue. And then I started talking about all these your issues you're telling me. These are how the world view your problem. And because this is how the world view your problem, they are going to react in this certain kind of way. And when I started saying it, it came to a point that the individual was like, I think next time I can't tell you certain issues in my life that has to do with this. And I'm like, ha. I actually had to separate from the person because I felt I was the one who made the mistake. I was the one who made the mistake. Because one of the covenant I had with myself is there is no point. Reality sets in the life of every man that we are not meant to be understood by the society, most especially by the people we want to protect. And looking at it from a logical standpoint, when you make a decision to be a leader, you are not meant to be understood by the people. You are meant to understand the people. So if you are going through your own challenges, maybe your wife did something wrong, maybe your children are doing something wrong, and you are maybe holding a political office, people don't care what you're going through. Everyone cares what you do for them. And we might look at it that, oh, this has to do with only people who are in political space and the rest of it. No, that's not it. Everything that happened in the political space, those are just hierarchy stuff. They happen on the fundamental and foundational thing. And trust me, I will be opening up the chats. If there's any question, if there's any contribution on how wrong I am regarding the idea of opening up in relationship. I've been married. I love my spouse. My spouse love me. There are few things that I use in for me to open up to you. I would have earned your trust to a certain degree, or you should have understand me to a certain degree. And slowly we might start building up rapport. And if I see that there are things that you can handle, I will give you those things. But there are things I know you are not built for and you cannot handle. And some people will tell you that the reason why relationships are breaking is because men are not communicating. I don't think it's because men are not communicating. I think the reason why relationships are breaking today is because men even communicate a lot. When you tell women every single thing you are going through, they want to, most times it seems as if they want to pretend and act like they care about your situations. And because they want to act like they care about your situations, they have stories they want to tell you. And you are telling them about your own situation. And when you're telling them about your own situation, it looks like you're stopping them from expressing their self. So what I mostly do is sometimes I sit back and I relax and I ask myself, okay, what is this lady going through? What am I going through? And I say, tell me yours. And when I tell women to tell me their problem or whatever they are going through, trust me, they can go for years talking without stopping. And one of the things that make men also, in my opinion, not opinion, these are facts. One of the things I have seen that makes men not to open up in relationships sometimes tends to be that men understand that when we open up in relationship or when we open up about our situation, the world just still expect us to do the work. Nobody empathize with us. But when women come up and they talk about their situations, you are going to see a lot of people, give them gifts, welcome them, find a solution to their issues and the rest of it. And sometimes it's so funny that even the people who would encourage me and say, oh, talk to us about your problem and the rest of it. Then when you want to talk about your problem, they will tell you that, a man who we want or who we actually admire in our life, we want the man to be able to handle his own problem. And I'm like, you want a man to be opened up to you and you want the man to be able to handle his own problem. The reason why he's opening up to you is because it is a situation that he cannot actually handle or he's trying to figure it out in his mind. What is the solution? That's why he wants to express himself in the first place. But when a man, for example, let's say a man is broke, and because the man is broke, he comes on to you and he tells you, there, I'm broke today. I have a bad day. The business I am actually running didn't work out. And he probably knows that you can find a solution to it, or you most likely have a solution to it, or you can support him. and he says it, you most likely will feel like the reason why he's telling me is because he knows I can solve the problem. And because you think you can solve the problem, whenever I open up to you, you begin to despise him for opening up. So most times I always tell men this, that for your relationship to be sweet, men, our mission in life is to act, not to speak up. In Africa, we are meant to do that. Speaking up, and now I'm not talking about tough situations and maybe you have health challenges. These are not the things I'm talking about. Oh. I'm only speaking on normal thing. Like if you have a bad day in your workplace, yes, you can just say I have a bad day and just let it end there. Let it end there. Because if you continue trying to express yourself to women, most times a lot of them cannot comprehend what you are going through. I am opening up the chat for minutes to see if there's any question that people want to ask or any contribution that anyone wants to add. So, this. In the animal world, the younger female is seen as a threat. Maybe this is a present in humans too. I'm not sure. TBH had to answer. I'm trying to understand the word TBH. Someone has told me before, but I've forgotten. Opening up makes us vulnerable. Men are less likely to put themselves in that situation because they feel judged. Less likely. Thank you, Rusty. Thank you, Rusty. But I was supposed to be seeing your message because um you are you are a member already. Your message was supposed to be coming in. It's about why mothers don't get on with daughters. Okay. The animal world, the younger female is seen as a threat. Maybe this is present in humans too. I'm not sure. Wow. Is it is it a threat to, is it that daughters, or in the animal world, is it that they feel like the daughters are going to take the spot of the mother, or is, sometimes in the aspect of animals, even the parents or the father wants to sleep with the daughter. At least the animal I knew that know that does something like that. I know about ram. So how are they threats? There was also a video I saw, um while you type or your chat comes in. There was a video I saw when a woman was interviewed and she was saying that she sleeps with her son, and the interviewer was asking the woman, it's on Instagram. She says she sleep with her son. Her son is maybe 8 or 8 years old, and she sleeps with her son, and no one said anything. If a man had said something like that, oh God, he would have been in jail long time ago. So there's a perception between all these things that when I look at mothers, the way they kind of act with their daughters, I'm like, they don't sometimes appear to be loving to their daughters. Sometimes in Africa, it seems in Africa, when a woman kind of have sons, they always want the presence of a daughter. But if they first of all have daughters, they are not most likely caring to their daughter that much. And sometimes I'm kind of thinking maybe there's a possibility that the daughters remind them of the mistake they've made when they were also young, or when they were younger as mothers. That's how I perceive it. Is there any comments coming in regarding the subject? Okay. Okay. It's kind of difficult to explain. Sometimes when I bring out subject like this, it's basically I'm trying to also comprehend to to be sure that my views about life are kind of I'm not depending on myself. The Bible says do not lean on your own understanding. And so I try to picture if there are other things that I can learn from why things like that happen. And looking at the Western world right now, when I see stuff like this happen over and over again, for me, every female, in my experience, every female I have spoken to that are in the Western world, when it comes to their mom, it is always a negative relationship. Now, they love their mom, they will take care of their mom, but the relationship is not always that smooth. When it comes to their dad, some of them have bad experience with their dad, but and then I'm like, what's really going on here? Hmm. I guess the threat is that the mother doesn't feel the same. She was the pretty one, the one who got the attention. Daughter born makes women feel like this is taken away from mothers. Wow. Wow. I don't know if anyone knows that this particular, I believe, I never expect this particular view. I guess the threat is that the mother doesn't feel the same. She was the pretty one, the one who got the attention. Daughter born makes women feel like this is taken away from them. It sounds like something that is kind of subconscious. You are not even aware of that thought. The same can be said for men too. Women adore the son, and insecure men can feel pushed out. Subconsciously, exactly. Her, but in the idea of men, let me let me let me let me let me find a way to look at the men's angle. Do you think men truly see it from that angle? Because for men, it might look like some men will be grateful if their wife is actually focusing on their son, because now it opens room for him to be able to engage with the outside world. If my wife is always busy with my son, trying to coach him and trying to give him a lot of attention, like I'm just like, that's cool. I'm not even I'm not going to be bothered about it at all. But like you rightfully said something, you said insecure men. That is when the man is so attached to the woman. So there could be a possibility to that. Some men, some men. Because for me, the way I perceive children, maybe I'm just using my view. The way I perceive children is okay. Children are initially, while I was growing, I wanted sons because I know the trouble that comes with daughter. When I use the word trouble that comes with daughter is because they are vulnerable. And it took me a while to understand that I was scared of the vulnerability of a daughter. And that's the reason why I was always clamoring to have a son. And that fear is always there in the life of every man who has daughter. You always want to, like, as a man, I'm protective. Naturally, I'm protective. Maybe not me. Let's just say African men, or what I know, we are kind of protective in a sense. And I think even this is just generally to the world. But when you have daughters, you now have to be extremely protective. As a man, I could not imagine having a daughter, but they do say it makes you a real man. Yes, it makes you extremely protective. That tends to be a father who is actually responsible or who cares about the children. Because if you don't care for the children in the first place, you really don't care. But I don't think that any man in his right senses who is establishing a family would want to see their daughter ruin her life. And some mistakes that men can make and they will go with it and they will still flow with life and nothing would happen. Women cannot go through the same thing. If they go through that particular stuff, it most likely would break them. It can break them, it can traumatize them for the rest of their life. There is this thing. There was a time I spoke about a subject on therapy the other time when I spoke about therapy and I gave my opinion on therapy. And I'm like, therapy only make you aware of your problem. It doesn't take your problem away. And YouTube was angry at me. A man who raises a daughter has more understanding about women. It would scare the hell out of the purely because of our vulnerability in life. True, true. Man who raises a daughter has more understanding about women. For you to even make a decision to be there, to stand and say, I want to be there in the life of my daughter. Once you have a daughter, one of the things it does to you is that it makes you empathetic. Like you become more empathetic as a person. Sometimes I think in life we have kind of overlooked some things. I used to, we have kind of overlooked some things. As a man, here's what I understand, and maybe it's just happening to me, but as a man, when you are very close to your daughter, I don't know how to put it because most men can be stupid also. When you are close to your daughter or your children, it kind of reduce your testosterone level. When you're very close to your children as a man, maybe your daughter, it's kind of reduce your testosterone level. Maybe it increases, maybe it reduces, but yes, where I'm actually going with the statement is that you are you are not so much sexually, you are no more sexually mind oriented, but what you are doing is that it helps you to kind of, if you are responsible, it's kind of help you to empathize with women out there because of the innocent one you're carrying. These days when I hear people say, I appreciate your work, love you from so 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 stuff, I kind of find it difficult to respond to some of them because you see, you see, men have estrogen. Why did they stop this? Why did they stop your message from appearing? Men have estrogen. When we see our child for the first time, our estrogen levels go off the charts. Wait, what did you say here that these people are holding and they are not reviewing it to the world? Wow. YouTube is kind of amazing in some areas. So, ah, Rusty says men have estrogen. And because he said men have estrogen, it doesn't make any sense. And that's true. They say women have more estrogen than testosterone, men have more testosterone than estrogen. But I think that when men become very close to their children, their estrogen level kind of go up. Kavita, Kavita, let me ask you a question. Are you a male or are you a female? Since you are asking question, are you a male or are you a female? Kavita, you are a female. Oh, I hope you are not the alphabetical people. Eh, oh, there are other people that are chatting. Rusty, you're a female. I hope you are not alphabetical people. Hope you are not trans. I'm careful of transformer people, transgender. Let's just say alphabet. So, okay, you're not a trans. All right. Would you like to be my second wife? I have a first wife. Would you like to be my second wife? Oh, sorry. Okay, now you can see her. Yeah. Yes, Kavita. If you're a pretty girl, what you can do is maybe you chat up with Rusty. Rusty is a nice dude. I haven't seen him, but I know he's more handsome than me. Kavita is funny. She said, if your first wife ready, then I'm also. Rusty says, no, I got one headache already. You don't want Rusty. Alright. We are traditional. So we have issues in Africa. Rusty, you were saying something about you got one headache already. I wanted to ask you a question. Like I thought you said you have separated. Yeah, Rusty breathed a huge sigh of relief. Headache avoided. Oh, Kavita is from India. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. You want to come to Africa to see me? So, Rusty, you were saying something, and you said that Rusty breathed a huge sigh of relief. Headache avoided. I think you are trying to say, oh, about the past. We are just parenting at the moment. The relationship is over, but the headache remains. Sorry about that. Wow. So, Rusty, part of the things I was touching on, I think anybody can also add their opinion on this. Part of the things I was touching on earlier when I spoke about the idea of men not speaking up in their relationship. What's your own take on it? What's your take on it? Just I just want to hear your views because the view you spoke on when it comes to the idea of mothers and daughters, I actually love that angle. Okay, Rusty says men don't want to open up because it's seen as vulnerability. The vulnerability is usually used against us in times of argument. Kavita, you want me to ask you a question? You want me to ask you a question? Time a woman will never judge a man on his emotions is when he cries for the first time seeing his child. Hmm. Rusty, you make me think something so. Like the way your brain kind of go to certain angles that people would not even think of. It's it's really alarming, interesting. Kavita says she wants me to ask her a question. What question will I ask you? Why don't you want Indian men? Why did you appreciate African men? Kavita, why do you appreciate more of African men than Indian men? So that's a question for you. So the spot of what Rusty touched on, it's kind of very interesting. The only time a woman would never judge a man on his emotion is when he cries for the first time seeing his child. I spent all day trying to tell a chat full of Christians and Muslims that arguing with each other is not what God wants. This chat is light-hearted in comparison. Um, I'm trying to break it down a little bit. I spent all day trying to tell a chat full of okay, that's not in this particular one. That arguing with each other is not what God wants. This chat is light-hearted in comparison. Yeah. Sometimes when I come on live, I just come to, just express thoughts, learn from people, and have a conversation. And then when I have some subjects I want to treat. There are big subjects I already have this week, like collaborations I already have this week. Definitely by God's grace. I would even be speaking to some of them the moment I'm done with life today. And we have to fix our time to have those discussions. Now, the idea when Christians and Muslims, for me, when they begin to argue on few stuff, for me, I'm just like, everyone are saying things that they really don't have full understanding of. Relaxed atmosphere here where thoughts and views are welcome, even insane ones. Yeah, yeah. Kavita, I asked you a question and you haven't responded. I said, why did you think that you prefer African men than the Indian men? You are yet to respond. Are you writing are you writing a book to respond to it? Oh, I'm not seeing your response. I haven't seen your response. Maybe you can copy it and then repost it. I hope they did not hide your response because YouTube can be very funny. I'm sorry I didn't see your response, or Kavita. Rusty, I would have loved to also ask you a question. Do you hate being on, okay, you told me already that you are also an introverted person. I am. But do you, yeah, I've proposed this to you first time. So I'm still asking you, don't you like to at least bring out your views? There were few views regarding the enlightened one the other time. We were having a chat yesterday when we were having few discussions about some views of enlightened one. I would have loved to hear your view rather than the chat. Hear your views and let us revisit some of those conversations because you also have an interesting perspective. Now, you do not necessarily have to be on camera. Like there's something you can do on your screen while you're on live video, and you can turn off your camera and we can hear your voice. At least speak, and let's maybe revisit that particular subject that I and the enlightened one spoke on, and you said you disagree with certain viewpoints. I wanted to know, what are your views? Why did you disagree? At least let's hear from all those side, all those angle. And trust me, maybe the enlightened one will agree with you on certain areas, and you might, compromise on other areas. Hmm. What I think is this. This is how I view it. I think that you have interesting perspective, and the idea is not about debate. I'm not saying come to debate enlightened one. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying debate enlightened one. What I'm saying is, let you and I have a conversation on it. You don't necessarily need to come on camera if you don't want to, but what are your views on some stuff? Why? Kavita is saying that I am not reading a message. I did not hide you, Kavita. I did not hide you. I was waiting to see the response of your message. Maybe YouTube is hiding Let me see. Maybe there's something I can do about it. Let me show all message. Oh, YouTube have been hiding a lot of message. Okay, Rusty also said something like, "Oh, I see what Rusty is saying. Oh, Indian boys are way toxic and not caring, but African boys are cool. Also, they will never cheat." Oh, I can see some stuff. I think I was the one who make a mistake. I clicked on top, what do they call it? Top messages, and it's avoid any potential spam. Right now, I think anything you write should open up, like I should be able to read it. Kavita says India boys are way toxic or way toxic and not caring, but African boys are cool. Also, they would never cheat. What made you think African boys would never cheat? Ah, when you except you are with African boys that have the fear of God. Oh. Yes, I just saw it. I didn't see that message. Dang you. Yeah. Kavita is asking, did you guys cheat? Rusty, please, if you can answer, do men cheat? Do most men cheat? What would be the interpretation of cheat first? The interpretation of cheat is we say that someone is doing something behind the other person. Rusty says I cheated on my school exams one time. LOL. Don't complete them anyway. I understand. I get the picture of what Rusty is actually saying. Okay, you're talking about we guys. Um, African men, in fact, we will put it this way: African men like to be polygamous. And if polygamy is part of what people consider as cheating, then that is it. That means men cheat. Now, the other part of it is, would you call a man who is in a relationship and it tells the other and it tells his wife, or it tells his, no, not wife, and it tells his spouse that I also want to exercise options with other people? Would you say that is upfront, or would you say is also cheating? On a serious note, on a serious level, though, women gave cheated on me, but I have never cheated on a woman. I could not hurt my partner like that. I've cheated on me. Rusty, are you trying to play a game of talking about what do they call it? The conversation with I and the enlightened one? Kavita is saying that is beauty important for a girl in a relationship? What's your opinion? I think beauty is very important, but I don't think beauty is everything. If you have the right character, it covers up for beauty. But at least you have to be beautiful. Now, beauty is like the gateway to come in. And one of my thoughts on it is like most women who go into relationship initially they become very beautiful. And when they are beautiful, the man is attracted to the beauty in one way, maybe not even considering the negative attitude of the woman. But as time goes on, some women kind of lose themselves because they think they've already have the man, And men are visual creatures. And because men are visual creatures, it might lead them to think of going to find other women. So I think one thing I would say is this: sometimes a lot of us kind of maybe we misinterpret the word beauty and cleanliness, because there are a lot of women who are kind of, they can be beautiful but they are not clean. And if you are beautiful and you are not clean, then after a period of time the man will just see the dirty part of you. But if you are always clean as a woman, it is important to be clean. If you are always clean, your man would most likely always appreciate you in the relationship. Now, either he has principle of cheating or not cheating, I can't say anything about that, because that's each to his own. But beauty is good, but there are different kind of beauty. Apart from the physical beauty, there is the character beauty. If you have the character one, you have good character, you can always win. And for you to also have good character, you also need to understand that you have to be selective of the kind of man you decide to choose. What are the principles of the man? Rusty says, no mate, nothing to do with enlightened one. No mate, nothing to do with enlightened one. Okay, just being serious. Women, oh, something is coming. Women have cheated on me. I know how it feels. I couldn't do that to someone I love. Kavita, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. My parents are trying to fix my marriage with a 31-year-old man. I'm only 22. Is it okay? That means he's older than you with 9 years. Your parents are trying to fix your marriage with a 31-year-old man and you're only 22. Is it okay? 9 years is not huge. The only thing is, do you like him or not? Outwardly, beauty is not what's important. What's inside is more important, but a male will obviously have his idea of beauty and be attracted to it. True. Same age gap as my adoptive parents. Same age gap as, okay. I don't think it's a huge gap. Same thing is Rusty's opinion. I don't think 9 years is a huge gap. The only thing you have to ask yourself is, one, did you love the man and do you think he has the attributes to be able to take care of you and protect you? What kind of person he is? Is he? What are his principles? Though you said something earlier, Kavita, when you said Indian men are toxic, I don't know the reason behind it. I don't have full details on it. I've heard few people make comment like that, but I don't have much information on it. Rusty says it's only huge if he is, let's say, 21. That would make you 12. Ye- 21, 12, 12, 21. Yeah. I did not catch it. I'm trying to look at that thing that Rusty wrote, and I'm still trying to figure it out. 22 and 31 is normal in today's society, though. Yeah. There could be other factors that makes Kavita not to not to really like the idea of getting married to the person. She most likely might be looking at it from the age perspective, but how come our YouTube still holding this one? It says Kavita says Indian boys are very toxic, not understanding, always having doubts on his girl. If they become angry, they will ah Rusty. What she says is this. She said, please, oh madam, help us reduce the volume. What Kavita says is that certain boys are very toxic and they don't understand. And she says they are always doubting their girl. And once they become angry, they hit their girl. That's punch, that's violence, that's domestic abuse. Now, Rusty is asking, Kavita, have you met the man yet? I think she said that she has a relationship with the person before and they've broken up, but her parents are trying to reunite them. I think that's what she said, Rusty. Yeah. Can judge all male society on the actions of the few who don't know what love means. Maybe that's the reason why she was looking at the African men. Okay, I think maybe your message come a little bit late, but I view it on the angle that, according to what Kavita said earlier, she said, I think she has been married to that particular individual and they are separated. And right now, the parents are trying to bring them back. Now, maybe she's considering the age or there are other things. And now she's opening up. Part of the thing Capital is saying right now is that um, they, whenever the Indian guys get angry, the particular guys get angry, they hit. That means there's domestic abuse there. Now, in the African perspective, mostly we don't support stuff like that. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it is rare in happening. But I know a relationship in my estate that it was constant. We can't even say if they are still together. He sees his wife like a punching bag. Um, when you say you have, please give more context to your message. Can be true among Indian society, but it's not true for all Indian males. Yeah. Canary King, welcome, greetings, welcome. Rusty is greeting Canary King. Okay, Kavita says, I have a relationship, but I'm so confused. Oh, why do you delete the message? Don't delete the message now. You already said it. Let's just discuss on it. Yeah, she said, okay, let me not say what she said. she might have a reason why she had to retract the message. But what I can say is this: there's nothing. The only person anybody can see is me. Now I don't know the name of Rusty, the real name of Rusty, but I address him as Rusty. I don't know the real name of Canary King, but I address them as him as Canary King. That message got delayed. Okay, he said it's okay. Maybe she's shy about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or maybe she thinks if she says it, maybe it would. I might look at it as or maybe you have, I kind of understand Indian perspective and their women, the way they kind of look at life, their views on life. It's kind of interesting, and I kind of like it the way they do. But sometimes, like Rusty actually said, that some men are kind of abusive. Maybe it is more over there because there's a state in Nigeria currently. They call the Hausas, the Northerners in Nigeria currently. Most of them, not all of them, but some of them, for the sake of good conversation, some of them most likely would hit their wife, or if a woman is even found in the act of adultery, some of them will bury the woman alive, and then they put they bury all her body, and then they leave the head outside, and everyone takes a stone and begin to stone the woman. And that's how terrible Northerners are. Not Northerners. Let before they hold me responsible for what I say. Not Northerners. What I mean is some people in Northerners, and it really happens. Kavita says, I have a relationship, but I'm not okay with it. But the thing is, if I leave him, he will. Ah, Kavita. Well, I would say you have changed our subject for today, but let's address your situation. That's why we're here. Let us learn from the Indian perspective tonight. Oh, I wanted to, yeah. Kavita, are you financially stable? Because according to even what Rusty is saying here, is that you should go to the embassy. Because trust me, if a lady says that someone is going to, if she tries to separate, some of this stuff, if you report to certain law enforcement, because it's things that actually happen in their place. Engineering student, you're fleeing death threat. She says she's not. I'm an engineering student. Wow. What would your law enforcement do if you lay a complaint about being abused by your guys over there? Yeah, that's what she's saying, that she's not financially stable. So I'm trying to look other alternatives. He said that my family is an Orthodox family, so I can't seek help from police or embassy. Ah, I really don't understand the idea of Orthodox, but I think it sounds like they wouldn't really pay attention to what they are saying. Or embassy. That's kind of serious. So, okay, extremely traditional family. So that means hello, Rico 2018, welcome. We are actually now treating the issue of Kavita from the Orthodox faith. Hmm. Hello, Rico. Rusty even remembers Rico. Kavita, earlier you said you wanted to come to Africa. You don't mind coming to Africa. So that might mean that there's a possibility that you can leave the country. You don't necessarily have to be very rich. Were you joking during that time when you said you would like to come to Africa? Were you just joking around or were you serious about it? Because what I'm just speaking, what I'm trying to figure out is if there's a possibility that you can come, you can go to Africa, or you were intending to go to Africa, then that simply means there's a possibility that you can actually leave the country. And if you can leave the country, you can find yourself somewhere else to do something that is Rusty says, Kavita, the local law may not help, but your embassy are obligated to help you if fleeing from a threat on your life. Maybe, I might even say that maybe she don't necessarily have to tell them the reason why she's going. She can just get she can get all right, you can just say you want to come to Africa. And in Africa it's very easy. Everything in Africa is kind of easy. And when we talk of Africa, I'm talking about continent. I'm not specifically talking about Nigeria or any specific country, but anywhere in Africa, you can actually go there. Maybe you can say you're going for tourism or something. And Canary King is saying you should flee and to come to Africa, you will find so many men who will be interested, smooth, polished, and gentle suitors. I did not say anything, no. I did not want to say anything, no. Eh. Rico is saying, hi, Canary King. Hope yous are all good. I I don't understand that English. You can American was like Rusty, I'm hooking you up. Yeah. Kavita says for girls, India is not safe. Can you hear me now? Mama. Okay. In Indian, girls are not wanted by many families. In the West, some Indian families send the girls off to live in India for a long time until they older. Hmm. This is getting deep. This is getting deep. Do you have any understanding what is the possibility why in the West, when you say West, do you think, are you saying the Western country? Doctor has been brutally. Kavita says recently a doctor has been brutally raped by 13 men during her duty time in a hospital. And you know one thing, during the investigation, they found 150 grams of semen from the girl's body. 150 grams of, he says, semen. Okay, you are not seeing everything that Kavita is actually saying. Okay, let me read it out. She said recently a doctor has been brutally raped by 13 men during her duty in a hospital. And you know one thing, during the investigation, they found 150 grams of semen from her body. Wow, that's amazing. But if Indian is not safe, I think oh god. Rusty can be very funny. You're saying the truth, but it's funny how you can just your brain just go to that particular angle. Why would they why would they weigh the grams of this? Are they trying to sell it? But it's not funny. From Kavita's perspective, this is a life threat issue. I know what's a good idea. I would just package this into a big old bag of juice. Maybe they most likely are using that stuff to threaten other ladies. Kavita, I was asking a question earlier that, yeah, you said it's not funny. I was asking a question like, when you said you were coming to Africa, were you just joking? Were you joking? What are the options you think you have? You said embassy would not support. You said the police would not support. And when you said things like this, when you say things like this, I understand. Because living in Nigeria also, there are certain situations that you find yourself, and the government's law enforcement would not support you regardless of the fact that you're on the right path and you're not going against the law, just because um there are certain individuals that they benefit some kind of stuff from. Then you have to spend a lot of money, go from this station to this station to this station. Most likely they would listen to you when you get to Abuja level. So I understand what she's saying. And looking at it based off some stuff, I can see whatever she's saying is actually the truth. It takes roughly a week to drive from India to Africa. Okay. So what Rusty is saying, that there's a possibility one can even travel through the road. Do you think, for me, I'm looking at it from this angle. I was thinking maybe there is you're probably staying in a state that is kind of different. And maybe if you move to the maybe you're staying in a rural area, maybe if you move to an urban area, maybe there is a different way perception they use in treating the ladies over there. It's just like even in our area here, there are places in Nigeria, there are places in the urban areas, the way ladies act over there. If you go to a rural area, you might not be able to have that same chance to do certain stuff. But not like the issue of battling a woman or beating, or going to that extreme end of taking the life of anyone. It doesn't make any sense. I don't think there's anywhere they appreciate it. They actually acknowledge stuff like that, except an adultery part in the northern area. And I don't think it's everywhere in the northern area. There's just this few group of people in the northern area that does stuff like that. Yes. Please, Kavita, let us hear from you. Is there a possibility that you can go through the road and move away from Africa? You don't necessarily need to go through the plane because it might cost much, like you said earlier. But while you're saying that, I want to congratulate one person. I want to congratulate myself. Today, we are now 2,000. I have 2,000 subscribers, over 2,000 subscribers. It's about 2,000 44, and it was a blessing. Ah, there was something that Kavita wrote. I can't even read it out. Oh, no, 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 no. I can't read it out. Do you mean girls aren't safe even for traveling? I'm looking online at something. Give me a few minutes. I'll be back. All right, Rusty. AJ says the box. AJ the boxer comes around. Are you talking about Anthony Joshua? Kavita. Girls are Do you mean girls aren't safe even for traveling, or girls are safe even for traveling? Because if they are, then Rusty says there are shelters in India, but it depends where in India you're from. Okay. Okay, it's not even safe. Kavita said, whenever I travel, always men, most probably old man, always sexually disturbed. Wow. Why are they so sexually obsessed over there? And I'm not saying all the men, but we are just talking about certain group of people. But what Rusty actually pointed out to when he says that there are shelters in India, but it depends where in India. Now, Kavita, maybe what you can do, potentially inappropriate. Even for me, there's something I don't know who wrote message now that they held down. Um, Even I cannot see the message. If we complete the court, will question as like, why you respond? Why did you come here? I can't understand your message clearly. Valerie Quintero, good day. Creed, welcome. Um, Canary King says, what country did this happen? The woman that kicked out the daughter. Okay, that's in the US. That's in the US. Part of the things we touched on was the subject on a woman kicking out her daughter, 17-year-old daughter, because she didn't prepare food for her 20-year-old son. Now, she has already divorced the father, or the father has actually separated himself from them, and she chased her daughter away. So I was asking of people's opinion that what do you think is the reason why most women do not have good relationship with their daughters in the Western culture? I gave out my opinion that, not even opinion, the perception that I have regarding what people actually told me in the past, that they had bad relationship with their mom, and I'm like, is this general stuff? So that was what we were touching on. Rico 2018 says that's true. I was out walking home drunk, came across a guy trying to hurt a woman. I lost it. I beat the shit out of him. After I walked the girl home, we've been friends ever since. Kavita says, guys, I'm leaving. It's 2:14 p.m. Yeah, I want to go. Bye. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you also, Kavita. Hopefully you find solution to this particular stuff. Hopefully there's a way out. Some other time you can discuss about stuff like this. Maybe when we have a bigger audience, we'll be able to look into the possible solutions to the issue. But I would have loved to get more details, but right now you need to relax. There's no problem about that. Valerie Quintero says, gotta go. All right, talk to you again. No problem. Rusty says, maybe you should both get in touch off stream, see where in India she is, and try look for help nearby. Just a fleeting thought, bro. Um, Kavita, if you're still live, maybe what you can do is write a message to my email. Then I would find a way if there's something I can bring up to stream, and then we think about certain stuff that we can work on. Okay, you ain't seen everything before. Wow. Sometimes, what I observe about YouTube is the moment they begin to review all message, sometimes it becomes slow for them to let every other person to see each other's message, because now the system begins to scroll and pick every text and start reading it, and sometimes it's going to deliver itself late, might be late. So we are already rounding up for the conversation of today. um we're already rounding up. Read. Okay, so let's make it a night. From here, this is African time. This is, what's the time now? This is 9:48 9:48 p.m. So we have to go. Hope we are going to have more conversation maybe tomorrow. Thank you very much, Rusty, for being available, and I appreciate all your perspective and every other person's perspective on the subject we talk about. We don't necessarily have to always be very serious. I appreciate the fact that at least I have people that we can always talk about. Thank you very much, Canary King. Appreciate. See ya, bro. Been a pleasure. Have a great night. Bye bye for now.